So the news is that the upcoming God of War isn't doing too well on the pre-order front. This has ushered into quite a bit of discussion on Twitter, so I thought I would do a quick video on it. The news comes from well-known industry person Colin Moriarty, who I've been following for quite a few years now and have come to trust. For those who may not know him, he used to be a senior editor at IGN that was focused on covering PlayStation, before founding Kinda Funny on YouTube and then becoming independent. At both IGN and Kinda Funny, he was featured on the #1 PlayStation podcast. It's therefore safe to say that he must be well connected with those working in the PlayStation ecosystem. This is what he said. A trusted industry source tells me that God of War's PS4 pre-orders are very soft. Sad to hear, I'm still hopeful and even confident that it'll be great, whenever it comes out. He then goes on to say that the data indicates God of War's numbers are in parity with other much farther off games that don't even have release years, some of which are of a lower profile. I still think that this should be taken with a grain of salt, but it's worth discussing because it is certainly a possibility and very interesting to consider. Proceeding on the basis that not many people have pre-ordered God of War, is this a sign that interest is low and that the game may not meet sales expectations? I don't think it is, and anyone that paints a picture that is all doom and gloom is misguided. There are two factors that would contribute to this if it is indeed true. The first and most obvious one is that there is no release date. Even though we have been repeatedly shown the early 2018 release window, God of War's arrival seems a lot less imminent without a solid date. It makes sense though, right? Why would you rush to order something when you don't even know when it's coming out? The idea of pre-ordering was only ever conceived to give customers the option to avoid being disappointed in the event that stock ran out on launch day. With the advent and rise of digital gaming, we live in a world where this isn't really a problem anymore. I haven't felt the need to pre-order games in years for this very reason. This explains why pre-order culture has evolved to providing incentives to get customers to pre-purchase games without much assurance that what they get on launch day will be of the quality that they expect. I hope that God of War doesn't go down this route because A, I don't think it'll be necessary, and B, it's simply unfair to carve out items that would have been in the game already. If what you ship meets reasonable expectations, reviews, marketing and word of mouth should be enough to put development at a good level of profitability. It's just a shame that that's not enough in a lot of cases. It's worth noting that God of War 3 was also in a similar position before it came out. The release date of the 16th of March 2010 was not announced until the 28th of January of the same year, with further details on a collector's edition. If rumours are to be believed, this is also being planned for PS4's God of War, so we should have a confirmation by the end of January at the latest. Apparently Santa Monica are conflicted on whether to release the game on the 13th of March or the 20th, but this hasn't been verified. Both of these dates fall on a Tuesday, which definitely makes them stronger candidates, and the leak on PSN might have been completely wrong. Waiting until 2 months before shipping to announce a date did not affect the sales of God of War 3, and I doubt it will this time. The third God of War went on to become the second best-selling PlayStation exclusive of the PlayStation 3 era, being bested only by Gran Turismo. There was also an audio developer at the studio that tweeted about being finished in a few weeks, further hinting at a release date sometime in March. It is a tad suspicious that we still have 4 more lost pages to uncover though, when they have been uploaded at a cadence of 1 per month, and Santa Monica were recently seen advertising for the role of a manager in engineering, but make of that what you will. They might decide to start unveiling each chapter within 2 weeks of each other to meet the March release date. I won't hide the fact that I haven't pre-ordered the game myself, but this is because I'm holding out for the collector's edition. God of War isn't even available to pre-order on the UK PlayStation Store, so people here don't have the option to do so if they wanted to. That might be the case in a lot of other countries as well, even though it's listed in the US. We have had leaks from a German retailer about what it might contain, so we know that there is one being planned for retail. Amazon also leaked a digital deluxe edition, which again, isn't available anywhere, so some people might be holding off for that instead. The second factor is that we have seen very little of what the game will actually play like. We have been reassured that this game will retain its roots in cinematic action, and everything sounds amazing on paper, but I think people also need to see some of it for themselves before pressing the button to pre-order. I totally get wanting to keep your cards close to your chest, especially with what happens in the story and with certain weapons and mechanics, but one boss battle or set piece wouldn't hurt to keep that reminder in people's minds. No matter how you go about it, this is a radical change in direction, and there are still quite a few fans out there that aren't fully sold on it. However, I do think that it will pay off in the long run, and I'm glad they took this route when you look at what's happened to Microsoft's staple franchises, Halo and Gears of War. Both of them no longer demand the respect and pedigree that they used to, and I want to focus more on Gears of War because it was the one that I used to enjoy the most, and it kind of followed a similar trajectory to God of War. Both of them enjoyed critically and commercially successful trilogies, later bringing out prequel installments in the form of Ascension and Judgment that weren't as well received by critics and fans alike. The common argument was that the formula in each franchise was starting to get stale. In comes Gears of War 4, which was promising to be a new generation for the series by also introducing the son of the previous main protagonist. I was very disappointed then to learn that it played things very safe instead, with attempts at making changes falling flat on their face. The changes I'm referring to are of course the god-awful robot DBs and the Horde mode missions. It really left me scratching my head as to why quite a few review outlets gave it a 9 after such a lackluster campaign. Santa Monica, on the other hand, decided to take a huge risk with a completely different camera angle, combat system, and tone. You could argue that what they are trying to accomplish is just as hard, if not harder, than making a new IP, because you have to convince fans that this will be worth playing, as well as those that have never played a God of War game before. You don't really have people going in with certain expectations for a new IP, because nothing's really been established. This would explain the second element of Colin's tweet, which is about pre-order numbers being in line with games that aren't as popular, that don't even have release years. This could even imply that the likes of Death Stranding and The Last of Us Part 2 are faring better with pre-orders, despite the fact that they are unequivocally 2019 games. God of War appears to be doing really well on platforms like YouTube and Twitter, so it's still surprising nonetheless. The demo from 2016 was the most viewed showcase at E3 that year, and it now has 18 million views. The trailer shown in 2017 is closing into 6 million, and the very short segment from Paris Games Week has 1 million. All have very healthy like to dislike ratios, and it's not even close to the disaster that was Infinite Warfare's trailer, which also had low pre-order numbers relative to the other games in the series. Horizon Zero Dawn didn't have the same kind of popularity online prior to releasing, and as of recording this video, it has sold over 3 million copies. I don't have the data on pre-order numbers however, so we won't be able to make a direct comparison. But with the right marketing and positive word of mouth from, the game actually being really good, it was able to do great numbers. I have no doubt that God of War will sell in the region of 3 to 5 million copies, so long as they start ramping up the marketing and the game ends up being great. So let's say that things go as predicted and they announce a release date at the end of this month after the Game Informer coverage wraps up. They would still have the whole of February and the first week of March to generate some positive buzz. Furthermore, the partnership with Game Informer has already led to a trickle of information of what the game will play like in its final build. Now that people outside the studio have started to deliver hands-on impressions, the hype train in the build-up to release has set off for sure. So what do you guys think about God of War's pre-order numbers being low? Will you be buying God of War, and if yes, have you pre-ordered it? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video.